Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be the first in a series of revamped map guides going over every map within Rogue Company and showing you the best rogues for these maps, some strategies, tips and tricks, and all the callout locations that you're going to need to be able to play these maps better. We're going to kick it off with Windward, and if you do go on to enjoy the video or just enjoy the educational content coming out from this channel, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. For now though, let's get into it. Now, Windward is a fairly large map centered around long angle gunfights that quickly accelerate into short SMG close quarter combat areas. A lot of this map is focused around rotation routes, pathing, and getting off well-timed flanks to open up different spots around the map. People who excel in a map like Windward are those who are really good at getting good long-range poke damage off that can accelerate into good utility placement, and it definitely rewards people who know those rotation routes, act quickly and decisively, and give good callouts across the map so you know what's best to do. I'm going to start by going over some of the rogues I think are best for Windward and that you should definitely pick up on the attack and defending side if you want to have a bit of an advantage going onto the map. The first rogue on the attacking side is going to be Dallas, who I think has a really good place on this map, not only because his weapons are longer range, so do really well at the different angles that this map allows, but also his snap and flank pressure with his ability and then padded step stalker offer a lot on this map specifically to play for a flank, play for that person who's usually flank watching and ratting around in a corner, and get that kill nice and easily to open up the map for your team, maybe look for a rotate, or look to kill the rest of the team. Similarly, another rogue that I think has worked really well on this map is going to be Lancer. Now, you'd expect this given that I said it is a long rotation map, and a map that is centered around flanking quite a lot and opening up different areas. Lancer is going to be an obvious choice for this on this map. Using her ability early within the round to get to certain power positions like cannons, or just rush at the enemy before they can even expect it, is going to be really valuable, or just using it as a more patient flank tool will be really great as well. There are also two zip lines which she can silently zip across by using her ability. And then the last attacking rogue I want to talk about is going to be Fixer. I think he works specifically well on the attacking side of this map. It is one of my go-tos personally, just because there are long angles where if you're a tier player using that sniper, he can get some good headshots off from range, or if you're a Deadeye user like myself, you can play around the smoke spot a lot. This map is very smoke heavy, smoking is a very important part of it because of those longer angles. So being Fixer and being able to counter that quite well will be really beneficial, or just helping your team get that bomb plant down using that smoke cover. Going on to the defending side though, one rogue who I think works really well is going to be Seeker. Again, long range map, you have a rogue with long range weapons and a really good piece of intel reveal that can be thrown at some amazing angles to see basically all the early rotations coming out from your enemy. I think the bounce nade works really well on this map as well, and two sticky sensors to watch for those flank routes that I mentioned really will help you and your team at just knowing when the enemy team are starting to rotate around the map, because again, that is a very big focus on this map. Anvil is another rogue. I think Anvil's retake pressure on this map is really good, and just having the presence of him means that teams have to play slightly differently when they're attacking. He's a very solid defender just naturally. He doesn't quite have the same range some of these other rogues do, but he does have a lot of pressure with that Anvil retake shield strategy, and forces them just to think differently about where they're planting the bomb and how they're going to maneuver around the map in case that shield is somewhere inconvenient. And then the last rogue for the defensive side that I'm going to recommend is actually going to be Saint. Now, normally I wouldn't put a support here on this, but Saint works really well for this map, especially on the defending side. You have long-range weapons with the Mamba and M4, which obviously suit the long angles of this map perfectly, but also you have global revive pressure on a map that's so wide as Windward, that is so spread out, and again, really prone to rotations. You want to make sure you can keep all players on your team alive no matter where they decide to situate. So they're going to be the top picks for the attack and defending side in my opinion. I think in terms of banning, Lancer and Anvil, if you do not intend to play them yourself, is a pretty good shout at just relieving some of the pressure that they give so much. Now, one of the things I wanted to do with the revamp map guide series is show you the callout locations graphically here with this display. I'm not going to talk about every single one, but here are the main location names across the map of Windward. Some people call things ever so slightly differently, and you may as well, but as long as you understand what each of these areas are and have a way of referring to them yourselves, you're going to be in a good shape to call out the main locations and rotation routes along the map. If you want this graphic for yourself, I will be putting it in my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. You can go grab this PNG and you can maybe print it off and use it for your team discussions, or just use it to talk with your team about how you want to play the map. That takes us on to then some very basic strategies that I want you to start implementing within Windward, and some of the ones that just work the most in terms of pushing and attacking on this map. No matter which side of the map you decide to go to, smoke grenades are going to be your best friend on a map like Windward, and I think having rogues with smoke grenades will be the best bet as you draft your team comp. If we focus on attacking the A side of the map, then what generally is best for me is you want to be sending 2 people across the zip. Those 2 alone can then start clearing cannons and making sure that that area isn't being camped at. It is a very common camp spot for defenders, so you do want to be clearing it very thoroughly. Then I would have 1 person move up through party box, so they have that slightly different angle on anyone maybe sitting actually on the site. They give some covering fire from there. And then I would generally have somebody either watching mid or being prepared to flank through market. Again, this is sort of Dallas or Lancer situation where they can have a really big impact if they're patient on that side of the map and can also watch your back as well. As you move through attacking the A side, I would recommend throwing some smokes down somewhere on the site just to block off any angles through a cut. And then from there, you can have 2 options. You can either go for a really early plant and plant for your side if you can get away with that, or you have to push through their spawn, push all the way to patio and lower patio and clear out that area. That is going to be really important for you. Then you can plant for the back of the site and hold it from the defender's side spawn. You have to be careful though, as you approach this, there will probably be enemies there and you will have to fight for that location, almost certain. If you're attacking the B side of the map though, you want to change your focus completely. You want to almost be sending all 4 people down that path. You are essentially going through a bit of a funnel, but you can definitely get collapsed on very quickly. So it's all about the speed when you're attacking B. You want to be smoking off market. That's a great place for a fixer then to go and sit in with his goggles, to be able to hold that entire place with thermal vision, while the rest of the team go through both sides of B. So you want to be sending probably 2 up the short angle and 1 up the long angle, or vice versa. And then they're going to clear the entire B site, clear the back of B site, and then push up towards those vans and trucks to hold their spawn again. Windward tends to be that kind of map where you want to hold spawn. The other option is, if you're feeling a little bit cheeky and you don't want to clear out the entirety of B site, is you can clear just the one side of B and then plant quickly and plant for market, and then the entire team falls backwards, goes to the high ground of market, make sure you clear out the staircase, anyone rotating in from A, and then you have a good shot at holding that, using that higher ground. Now for defensive strategies, it obviously matters very much what the attackers are doing and you adapting to that, but a good general setup that I personally like is a 2-1-1 across A, mid, and B respectively. I tend to put 1 person on far B. You can go and jump early to see anybody looking over the zip in case you can get early picks on the zip. You have 1 person sitting trash cans who can look down mid and look for rotations. Then you set 2 people up on A, 1 on site, and 1 just under the back of site there, just giving some angles. You'll be able to see anybody go into cannons early and give information to your team. And then on the defensive side, I actually do really like somebody flanking through party box, especially if they're going A, and just pinching the entire A site. Maybe send 2 people there to keep them covered, and then you basically just, as long as your teammates don't die on the actual A site itself, just beam them through and cross-shot them until they die. In terms of defending B strategies, generally you're looking there to match their speed and aggression with your own speed and aggression. Again, they have to travel through this funnel, so if you can rotate really early and get there, it's definitely worth it. And sometimes even I would mix up that 2-1-1 split and go for a 1-1-1-1 split and keep somebody at market on that staircase just to see the early rotation and be there to get some early kills and make that B push even harder for them. Now, of course, there's loads of strategies and plays you can do, and it's up to you and your team composition what exactly you want to run and try. I can't go over every single possibility here in this video. Here, though, are going to be some tips and tricks for Windward that have served me really, really well. Maybe some cheeky positions or cheeky little routes that you might be able to pull off that might help you get a few more kills every once in a while. And the first one I'm going to talk about is from the defending side, and this is that person on B, where I said you can jump and see them coming across the zip. This is one of my favorite plays to do ever, and I tend to get a lot of kills here, and that's why I personally run Kestrel on defense here for this one play to ult anybody coming across the zip and get a really, really nice 1-piece, 2-piece, 3-piece, or sometimes even a 4-piece. But essentially, when you run to this location, you can jump up as you move through, and you can see exactly anybody coming across that zip line. It's going to be very, very useful for you to get that early information. Another defensive power position that you can get to is actually going to be on the A side. This is going to be cannons. This one is quite well known, so it may be slightly risky, and you definitely want a teammate near with you to help cover you. But essentially, you're going to run up to cannons, and instead of going up the stairs to cannons, you're going to jump up on that little bit of a wall, and you can start shooting through that railing. If they don't expect it, there's a really early kill in there for you. Another tip that I think actually goes really underused here in Windward is to not be afraid to actually use mid itself as a push route. Not many people do this. Most people stick to either far A or far B or market and don't actually value that mid fountain area. If you get some good smoke offs, or say you get a pick there on trash cans through your sniper, you can actually just walk through there pretty easily, and you can choose based off that situation exactly who you want to push and funnel. You do obviously have to be careful. There are a lot of routes whenever you travel through mid on any map So you do want to make sure that you are not getting beamed from the side. But again, that's why you use those smoke grenades. And you have to do it confidently, hopefully with either some sort of fixer or some sort of intel rogue to help give you some awareness. But do not be afraid to use that mid fountain area as its own push route. Just make sure you're doing it smartly and you have teammates there to back you up. Another tip with Windward, I've kind of mentioned it, is to not be afraid to use the enemy team's spawn. And this works for both attack and defense. Specifically for attack, you end up going into their spawn quite a lot to hold your bomb plant locations. But for defense, you can do the same and you can flank all the way through their spawn. And there are some really, really nasty routes you can get off. Obviously, they take a lot longer to get to, so your team have to survive. But if you know the enemy team are playing slow, you can get behind them real quick, and nobody ever watches these deep, deep, deep spawn angles, which are so available on Windward. So make sure you are using them if you are in that flanking mindset. And then the last tip or trick on Windward that I'm going to tell you is actually one of my favorite little cheeky sort of rat spots that people do know about, but there may be some people who don't. If you can get away with this, especially if you're sort of guarding the bomb in the last 1v1, they're not going to expect you to be somewhere like this. And it's a really, really cheeky spot here over on the B site. You can sit right in this planter. You see quite a lot and they can't really see much of you. So it's a nice little spot to try and get a cheeky kill off. Okay then guys, it's going to take us to the end of the map guide for Windward. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/RADTHARGAMING to see live gameplay commentaries. You can also check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and my second channel, More Radthar, which is a bit more vlog style content. All the links are needed down in the description below, but for now, I hope you have a fantastic day. And as always, remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.